You're now listening to The Couch on 24/7 Miami with your hosts, Chubby Dubby, Clem December,
Dave Clem. December, it's Clem time.
and your boy Coleman.
Coleman, I've had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me.
Let's go.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. It.
And welcome back to the couch. I'm here with my boy Coleman.
Hello.
Manny is not here.
Manny is en route to another continent.
He did not tell us that he was in Europe. He did not tell us he was going to Europe. This morning he told us.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
What up, y'all? I'm on my way to Spain.
Shout out Manny. Okay, so we've been out. The Hurricane Irma hit South Florida. We were out for a few weeks. In that time span, there's been 2 weeks of NFL football, and which you said that you did not see any of.
Very, very small amount.
Great, so that's awesome for this show.
Just received my power was restored by FP&O on Sunday morning. I unfortunately did not have cable until Monday morning.
Glad you got that back.
So am I. It was a little bit. I mean, listen, I don't want to complain about anything. They're doing a really good job out there. They've restored the majority of power to a lot of people. Everybody's working really hard. Fortunately, it missed us. Unfortunately, it sort of devastated the Keys. But, you know. Yeah. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? We got lucky. The West Coast, not so much. The Keys, so great. Not so much. But not to rub it in, but I lost power for like 15 hours. So
that's great. And, you know, if you want to help those affected by Hurricane Irma, you can go ahead and do so by texting the word IRMA. That's IRMA to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Standard message and data rates may apply. Okay, so because of Irma, the Dolphins didn't play last week. They did play this week. They won. They beat the Chargers. It wasn't a barn burner, but we won. And I did see this game. Okay. So I can contribute. So Dolphins, solo first place in the AFC East right now. All right. Only undefeated team in the AFC East. Some things from that game. Jay Ajayi is an elite running back. All right. He looks better than he did last year. I mean, he looked really good last year. He bounces off tackles. He runs hard. He runs even harder in the fourth quarter to put games away. Is an elite running back. That's my first take. Okay. What else you got? So I liked everything that I saw from the Dolphins. I think that you have to sort of take everything into consideration, and I'm not going to be poo-pooing necessarily on anything that we did, but if Younghoe Koo makes the field goal at the very end of the game, it's a totally different result.
I knew he was going to miss that, though. Rookie kicker, over 40 yards. Man, I was talking about this with someone the other day. A little quick side note. I felt like 10 years ago, like kickers made field goals. 30-yard, 40-yard field goals like Morton.
Gary Morton Anderson.
Vinatieri. And these kickers never miss. And kickers miss all day nowadays. And I knew there was no way that ball was going.
Do you have any scientific data to back that up, or is that just your inkling?
That's just my inkling. I just got a feeling that I see more missed field goals than I used to.
So what is Cody Parkey? He's like
a little more
6 for 6 on 50 or plus yard field goals, and I believe that 54-yarder to put the Dolphins ahead was the longest game-winning field goal in Dolphins history. Goal data on that. That's that's a reference point that Matt will not get into right now. Game notes that I had: we had no turnovers. Jay Cutler was efficient. He wasn't, he didn't put up otherworldly numbers. He was 24 of 33 for 230 yards and 1 touchdown. Like you said, Ajayi, 28 for 122. Landry, like we talked about before, 13 catches for 78 yards.
Yes.
He's on pace for, 180 catches for about
800 yards.
Exactly. One thing that I did take away from it is Devante Parker, 4 for 85. And while watching the game, you got the sense that they weren't really uncorking anything during the first half.
Right.
It was very vanilla offense. They didn't want to go downfield all that much. It didn't really seem like they took too many shots. I think they took one longer than 10 yards downfield. And then I forget who it was, but somebody talked to Adam Gase during halftime, and he basically said, he was mad at his own play calling.
Right.
They needed to get it together. They need to listen. Jay Cutler is a gunslinger. You got to let him sling it.
That's what one of my note here on Cutler is Cutler will get this offense humming. Exactly what you just said is pretty much what my note is. Like, eventually they're going to start uncorking things. Devante Parker is going to be targeted more than 6 or 7 times.
Right.
I mean, he went up over that one guy. That looked like an interception. He just took it right out of his hands.
That was a nice catch.
That was very impressive, and that's the kind of catch where you're just like, man, that guy has that in him.
You see the potential in him.
And then Landry, he's a volume guy. I mean, he's consistent. You can always count on him catching that ball. So that was good. Defense played well. They only gave up 16 points, but they let Phillip Rivers pretty much go straight down their necks with no timeouts.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like that was a little bit disconcerting. It was the defense was a sort of a bend but don't break, but you can't really play that when the bending is going to allow them to go down with no time left and kick a field goal. I was nervous. At the end of the game. I was not confident that Younghoe was going to miss the kick.
Speaking of the defense, they were missing their starting, linebacker, Lawrence Timmons.
Well, let's get into that after the game recap because we're going to get really into that with what's happened since then. Just to give you a little bit more about the defense, though. So the defense allowed just 44 rushing yards, 3.1 yards per carry.
Never mind. Go ahead.
And that's after last year allowing 140 yards and a league worst 4.8 yards per carry. Now, it's only a one-game sample size, but that's a pretty good improvement. It's not like they've got a slouch back there. They've got Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, and exactly. Melvin Gordon, he scored a touchdown. Did he score a touchdown?
Not in this game.
No. Who scored for them? Oh, Antonio Gates scored.
Yes.
All-time leading tight end.
Yes.
So that's
surpassed Tony Gonzalez.
That's impressive. Yeah, so we bottled up Melvin Gordon pretty good. They didn't. Yeah, their offense didn't. San Diego didn't do much. I wish we would have just scored more points.
Yeah.
Made the win look a little more convincing.
But there's, like I said, I don't want to poo-poo on any of it. Like, hey, look, it's a road win on the West Coast after a very tumultuous week, being displaced, not being able to practice normally, having to leave, having to have all their animals shipped away with them. Like, there's just a bunch of crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's a win. We're 1-0. We're at top of the division. Let's get into what exactly happened, I believe, starting Saturday night with the middle linebacker.
Right. It started Saturday night. He was not in his room for curfew. We didn't catch wind of this until Sunday morning. Everyone thought that it was just he didn't show up. He didn't show up Sunday to the facility for the game.
Right.
But what really it was he left the team Saturday night. Persons report. And I don't know if it was the police or a team official that found him at the airport.
It was the police.
It was the police, and then they obviously didn't drag him back. A team official flew home with him to Pennsylvania. The early story was that he was missing his baby daughter, which, okay, he's been in Pittsburgh for a long time. This is maybe the first time that he's been away from his daughter for 2, 3, 4 months on end. Crazy that he missed his child. What is kind of weird, though, is I've heard that they want him to talk to doctors. Obviously, not anything physical. They want him to talk to mental doctors,
right?
Which makes me wonder, and then there's a report that someone denies they think that this is early onset of CTE, which why does one guy misses his daughter and boom, we're jumping to CTE and having to see doctors. It's very weird.
It's a weird situation, and part of the reason why people are jumping to all sorts of different conclusions and speculations is because we don't know. We don't have any answers. We don't know why. And so
why can't it be that he missed his daughter so much? Like, some people have anxiety to where like it doesn't always come out until you hit a breaking point.
Right, and you never know. And it's not like we haven't seen this before. Derrick Rose did this to the New York Knicks last season.
Right.
Sometimes things like this happen. The problem that you get to, or the problem that we've encountered now, is what do the Dolphins do? Which we've seen. News has come out today. They've suspended him indefinitely. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that.
So Timmons has been suspended indefinitely. Basically, what that allows them to do is sort of give him a little bit of punishment, but allows them the leeway to not. They don't want to cut him. We need linebackers. We can't afford to cut him.
Right.
We just signed him to a 2-year, $12 million deal. He's got a certain amount of guaranteed money in there, but you can't just let him get away with it because he didn't. That's the thing. So the biggest problem is, hey, listen, if you're having an issue, if you're having a mental health problem, if there's anything going on in your life, like you have to be able to, you have to inform the team. That's where the problem is. Right.
And obviously, I'm sure it's going to cost him a game check. Indefinitely sounds like more than one game.
Well, so here, I'll tell you exactly what indefinitely means. It means that they don't have to levy the exact amount of punishment right now. They can say we're doing it indefinitely, and it can be the next game. It can be up to 4 games underneath the current collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
Now, the problem is a lot of people, and it hasn't been reported completely. I don't have his contract. I don't know what the wording is, but it says that it basically wipes out the guarantee for 2018 by him. He voided his contract by not showing up to the game.
Right. Okay. So
I think, supposedly he came out and said that he was back, not necessarily back to normal, but he was okay. He wanted to come back with the team and continue to participate. He wanted to let's try to move along from this, which I think is a good thing to do. Obviously, the Dolphins are very upset about it. You can't have somebody. You can't have them just doing whatever they want to.
Thinking that thinking that they can just leave with no repercussions.
And it doesn't, I'm sympathetic to whatever it was that he's going through. I don't think that, he should be fired over this or anything like that. Things happen, you know what I mean? Life's weird, life's crazy. You never know.
Right.
But the Dolphins, and especially Adam Gase, is in a weird position because how do you not punish him and not set a precedent for the future? Because then is somebody else going to be like, well, I'll only get suspended indefinitely.
I missed my daughter too.
Right.
We do have a text-in stat correction. Melvin Gordon did score, but he only had 13 yards on 9 carries. Oh. So the Dolphins did bottle him up very well, but he did score. Oh. And I had the score at 17-16. We won 19-17.
Correct.
Okay. So anything else on the Dolphins? 1-0, solo lead in the AFC East. Coming for the Patriots, coming for the throne. Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, go Dolphins.
All right. So going around the league, I'm sure you know all this stuff.
I know some. There might be some stuff that I don't know.
Just some stuff that I'm looking at. This guy Kareem Hunt looks like he's a stud.
Ooh, I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. Nobody cares about that.
He ate me alive in week 1. He had 320 scrimmage yards and 5 TDs in the first 2 games. So Kareem Hunt. And Andy Reid always makes running backs look good. Mm-hmm. So that's a good offense for a good running back.
And this is one thing that I did notice looking at, so I saw some highlights from the Chiefs game. When you think about the Chiefs offense, you think about running, wide receivers getting swallowed up, like not very much in the way of creativity, I would say, when you think about Andy Reid's offenses. But when you think about the Chiefs, like, what do you think about the last few years? Spencer Ware and Jamal Charles.
Yeah.
Now they've got Travis Kelce hurdling the line from the 5-yard line on a rush. Oh, they've got weird
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, they've got. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, they
look good.
They're number 1 in the most recent in this week's recent NFL Power Rankings. They got the Chiefs number 1.
Crazy. Alex Smith.
I don't even know what they didn't. How did they beat the Eagles?
Yes.
I mean, I know they beat the Eagles. Did they beat them handedly?
I think it was 27-20.
Okay. I mean, they got them in. They got the Chiefs as the number 1 team in the league right now. Detroit looks really good. I dare say Detroit has finally arrived with Matt Stafford.
One of the games that I did watch as well, although I did fall asleep through probably most of the second quarter.
I mean, he was making all the throws he needed to make. It wasn't super prolific, but they scored 24 points. The defense looked really good. Ziggy Ansah had like 3 sacks. Mostly the Giants' offensive line is absolutely a dog pile.
And that's what I was going to say. The Giants, like Detroit may look very good, and they did beat the Cardinals in week 1. The Giants look horrific, absolutely dreadful on offense.
Oh my God!
Even with Odell Beckham Jr., who last night played, even though he didn't play in week 1, and he said that he was about 80%, and I think he said something along the lines of this is a 5 to 6 week injury for his ankle sprain.
He was saying it was a 6 to 8 week injury.
6 to 8 week injury.
Monday night, last night was 4 weeks from when he got hurt.
Right. So, granted, he's not 100%, but I mean that offense looks putrid.
Eli Manning had no time to do anything.
Right.
One time, he was so afraid of getting sacked that he sacked himself.
Right.
He just fell down. I mean, he was being pursued, but Ziggy Ansah kind of dove and wasn't quite there, but Eli just fell.
I'm getting seasick watching myself on this camera. We got to do something about that during break.
Okay. But yeah, Detroit looks really good, and Matt Stafford is looking like he's earning that payday that he got. That 80, 90, 100 million, whatever the going rate for an average quarterback, an above average quarterback is these days. On the other end of who looks good, teams that look really bad are the Bengals. Like, obviously you got the Browns, you got the Jets, you got the usual suspects for who's looking bad, but looks like the Bengals have finally reached that point. Being a Bengals fan, it's my second team. It's my dad's team, right? So I follow the Bengals. Bengals do not have a problem with on-field talent. Bengals have the biggest coaching problem in the league, and it's been like that for a while. Marvin Lewis has needed to be fired for the last 5 years. And I think it really is time to go. They never have a game plan. Like, they have talent that gets them to a wild, or they've won the AFC North a couple times. They win wild cards. They played a couple games down in Houston that they've lost when they're the wild card, and Houston's not even supposed to be that good, and they'll go in and lose that game.
Right.
Because they get to the playoffs off talent, but in the playoffs you have to have a game plan because you're going up against coaches that have game plans. And ever since they let Mike Zimmer was in charge of the defense and Jay Gruden was in charge of the offense, and since they let both of those guys go, they didn't get as good coordinators. And Marvin Lewis he can't game plan. These guys can't game plan. And it's a shame because the Bengals had they gave up 145. It was like the Deshaun Watson 49-yard touchdown run on Thursday Night Football. I don't know if you saw it. It was the only score of the game. I
saw the replay.
Bengals offense got 9 points, couldn't do anything.
Right.
And the defense only gave up 13 points. The defense is still there.
Right.
Offense, there's no game plan.
The offense just has yet to score a touchdown through 2 games. So what happened last Friday morning after the game? Offensive coordinator.
Right.
Gets the chop.
So they promoted Bill Lazor, formerly of the Dolphins.
Right.
All right. Bengals. Whew, Bengals do not look good right now.
Stinky.
And finally, for my NFL notes, the Patriots did the most Patriot thing ever. Okay? The most Patriot thing ever. You had talks about 16-0, right? What they do? Week 1, they put 16-0 to bed. They just lose, probably on purpose, and they put 16-0 to bed. Then what do? They proceed to go in to New Orleans, where a 400 passing TD quarterback resides, and they just beat the brakes off of the Saints.
Yeah.
The most Patriot thing to do. They didn't want the 16-0 thing on their back all year. So they lost on purpose week 1, and then they restore their season. Everyone's already back to claiming them AFC. A week ago, everyone was like, oh, the Patriots are losing a step, which is the same thing that everyone said.
Happens every year.
When they lost to the Chiefs, and then Bill Belichick said on to Cincinnati, everyone was saying Tom Brady's done. 2 years after that, they're talking about how long can Tom Brady play for.
Right.
So
now, we thought he was done. Now he can play till he's 45.
Right. So the most Patriots thing ever is that? Putting 16-0 to bed, probably on purpose, and then going and stomping the Saints.
I hadn't thought about that. One thing that I did, we can end on this, and then we'll go to a little break and fix that camera so that the viewers can stop puking in their living rooms or wherever it is that they're watching. Potentially.
Come on, dude. I don't look that bad.
No, the motion sickness.
Well, stop. It happens when you shake the table.
No, it doesn't. It's been happening the whole time.
Well, there we go.
Oh.
Now they get my best angle.
Andrew Luck. What is with the Colts in this circus that is happening again?
Well, did Andrew Luck had the shoulder surgery that Cam Newton had?
Correct.
But did they had it at the same time, or did Andrew Luck wait too long?
He may have waited too long, but
I mean that seems like their only problem.
Well,
they didn't get blown out by the Cardinals.
Well, I'm talking more specifically about what is going on with Andrew Luck in the Colts situation. So we get week 1, he's not going to play. Okay, fine, maybe he'll be week 2. Week 2, he's not playing again. He's already been ruled out for week 3. Last week, we have rumors circling in Indianapolis that the reason for this is because he wants out. Supposedly, Chuck Pagano was saying that the problem is in between his ears, not in his shoulder. Like, it just looks like they've bungled this whole situation. And I'm not sure, we can fix that.
We'll fix that later. Yeah, I don't know much on that situation. I thought it was just a shoulder injury. It does seem like the Andrew Luck era has kind of taken a weird turn. It started out real hot.
Mm-hmm.
He made the playoffs like 3 years in a row. I think he played in an AFC championship game against the Deflategate. Was that the AFC championship?
Was it?
I think it might have been.
Maybe.
And then all of a sudden, the last 2 years, he's injured, and yeah, I do sense a like a riff between Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. It feels like they're messing it up, and the owner's kind of a wacko. The head coach is a little bit, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. The
head coach is always on the hot seat too.
Yeah, but he's never really on the hot seat because he's never getting fired.
Right, you're right.
Nothing ever happens.
You're right.
It's I understand he went through a little health issue, but come on.
Sometimes you got to get over things.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to break and be right back.
Les Grossman.
We don't get money yet. Price now 100 million. You pay now or tomorrow Simple Jack die.
Great. Let me get this down. 100 million. Oh, wait. I got a better idea.
Stay tuned to the couch on 247miami.tv.
Instead of 100 million, how about I send you a hobo's cheese? Then you kill him, do your thing, skin the Go to town, man. Go to town.
No.
In the meantime, and as usual, go yourself.
Welcome back from break, everybody. I hope we have the camera situation figured out. Hopefully there's no more waves in the room from us shaking the desk and me knocking the camera off of the monitor. We are going to get into a little variation of a segment that we do around here. This upcoming segment is brought to us by Lakeside Cottages in Lake Placid, Florida, a vacation resort nestled in the heart of Central Florida on beautiful sandy bottom lake clay. Perfect for bass fishing, boating, swimming, and water sports, Lakeside Cottages is the perfect spot for a romantic retreat, family vacation, or corporate gathering. Visit lakeplacidcottages.com for more information and start making memories today. Now, we're going to get into other news. In other news. So, in other news, one of the leading stories of this past weekend that has nothing to do with the NFL but is related in the sports world, Kevin Durant. Have you heard about the Kevin Durant drama that is happening now?
The Twitter debacle?
Yes. So
I think it's hilarious.
I do think it is hilarious as well. I think it's pretty funny that Kevin Durant is not unlike a lot of other people, but let's explain to you exactly what happened. So he released a new shoe with a bunch of different little sayings on it of all the different slights that people said about him. And coinciding with that, he apparently on Sunday evening decided to go in and clap back at some people on Twitter for the naysayers of Kevin Durant's. But the problem is he did it logged into his real verified Twitter. He did it in the third person as if he were somebody else. So some of the things that happened were, or here, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Somebody tweeted at KD Trey, man, I respect the hell out of you, but give me one legitimate reason for leaving OKC other than getting a championship.
Right. So he has accounts that he uses to clap back at people.
Which, well, that's the conclusion that we're getting at.
Right. And then what he did was he forgot to switch profiles.
Right.
And okay, so continue.
So what or whoever it was supposed to be said back to that question was he didn't like the organization or playing for Billy Donovan. His roster wasn't that good. It was only him and Russ. He then continued, imagine taking Russ off that team, see how bad they were. KD can't win a championship with those cats. So speaking in the third person, it's very unlikely that he did that on purpose.
It's very unlikely that he meant to tweet from that account.
Right. So that's what the conclusion that people draw was that he has an account that he usually logs into on Twitter to defend Kevin Durant. Probably KD Golden State #1 fan 30005 or something like that, where he usually logs in and is like, no, you're wrong. KD's got the heart of a champion, Golden State forever, all kinds of stuff like that. And so what ended up happening was, of course, the internet, you can't get away with anything on the internet.
Right.
So some internet sleuths actually found a secret Instagram account. The name of it is Choir Sultan, which through a little bit of deep investigating found out are two streets that Kevin Durant grew up on, Choir Street and Sultan Street. This Instagram account only really follows the close friends of Kevin Durant. So I think, what's the name of the rapper? Andre something.
Andre 3000.
No, I really messed that one up. Big Sean.
There we go.
And then Big Sean, and then some other Golden State Warriors. So he follows like Big Sean, he follows Klay Thompson, he follows Draymond Green. And so also they found out that his brother actually tagged a picture of Kevin Durant, but instead of tagging him Kevin Durant, he tagged him Choir Sultan. So there's further evidence. And they went in before he made his account private and actually discovered some charming things that Kevin Durant decided to comment back on, negative posts that people had made under the Instagram account of Kevin Durant, such as, quote, "You weak though, you sit the bench, N-word, nobody knows you. Gorillas don't do that, bitches do. Your little ass ain't playing varsity, you better start rapping, LMAO."
And that's from the Qualton.
That's Choir Sultan.
Right, which is Kevin Durant.
Under Kevin Durant's pictures somebody was talking trash.
Right.
Choir Sultan chimed in and was
right,
like,
right.
gorillas don't do that. Bitches do.
Oh, I love it. Kevin Durant is so high school.
It's so petty and it's
so
just,
petty,
but it's unbelievable. And
that is so funny.
It's hilarious. And so,
then I saw today he had to defend himself. He was like, "Oh, I don't regret clapping back at haters. I just regret like using my former coach's name." He's like, "That was idiotic and stupid." The whole thing just makes Kevin Durant look very weak and petty.
I think it's funny though.
I think it's funny.
And also, so there's a very easy way out that a lot of people take whenever they get caught on social media doing anything that's sort of inappropriate. It's, they delete whatever happened and say, I was hacked. At least he didn't do that. And so if he didn't necessarily, so he, in his little speech that he gave in San Francisco today, he didn't exactly, he didn't address the exact posts other than talking about Billy Donovan. But he didn't say that he was hacked. And so even if he does have, if he has like a social media person that maybe did that, he's taking the rap. You never know. So I commend that at least.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of pettiness in everybody. You know what I mean? Like he's just like, he feels like people call him a snake, and I'm sure that a lot of people, and that brings up another question. Like, do you think Kevin Durant's the only one that's got burner accounts sitting out there? No,
absolutely not.
So all of these eggs that you see on Twitter and Instagram, they could be LeBron James #1 fan 2000-005, clapping back on people. I think it's hilarious.
Okay. Also, keep it in the NBA. Kyrie Irving, you see, he went on ESPN First Take.
I did.
And he tried putting a lot of LeBron stuff to bed, but it like, I heard Stu Gatz mention this morning, but he made a very good point that you don't make a decision like this. He said he hasn't talked to LeBron, but it's nothing personal. But you would think working, like when you are with someone like this so closely, LeBron and Kyrie, that kind of relationship, like being NBA teammates for 3 years, you would think if there was nothing wrong with the relationship, they would be talking about this, or they would have at least spoke and said, "Hey, look, nothing personal, but I kind of wanted to move on." Like, if you aren't saying that to LeBron, then there is something personal. And Kyrie came off as like, then he kind of like got real defensive with Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman asked him like, why haven't you talked to LeBron? Like, if there's something personal, why haven't you talked to LeBron? And he kind of got loud and he was like, look, dude, like, I'm just trying to do my job. Like, he told Max Kellerman, like, you need to respect that.
Right.
And so it just, I don't know, it looked weird. Nothing huge, nothing to write home about, but it was kind of a weird showing by Kyrie on ESPN.
I thought it was a little bit weird, but he also, his viewpoint actually kind of convinced me in his favor towards his argument.
No, I agree that he probably wasn't happy. He probably was tired of it being the LeBron show, but everyone who wants to like a Kyrie hater, all he has to say is, look how bad you guys were before LeBron came back.
Right.
But he wants to try and shine, get out of LeBron's shade and shine.
Oh, no. I wasn't talking about his decision to leave. I think it's anybody's decision if they have the power to play wherever they want to in the NBA. That's, listen, take all the power that you can, go wherever you want, make as much money as you can. I'm all for it. My thing is, it's this sort of idea that he has to talk to LeBron, like he has to have his permission or he has to have a conversation with him. Who maybe they weren't friends.
Right.
Maybe they were just buddies that, not even buddies. Maybe they were just coworkers that played on a team. So, and part of what he said when he was talking to Max Kellerman was, do you, like, just because me and LeBron are supposed to be the 1 and 2 or the 2 and 1, like, so why do I have to talk to him, but I don't have to talk to Kevin Love, or I don't have to talk to Iman Shumpert just because of his stature, because of how good he is? Like, so if LeBron James, when he decided to leave Cleveland the first time, did he tell everybody there that he was playing with that he was leaving?
No,
Probably not.
Okay.
When he left the Heat, he definitely didn't tell anybody that he was leaving.
Right.
Supposedly, he told Dwayne Wade on the way back on the plane from Las Vegas.
Right. And I don't think that's, but then don't say that, like, why haven't they talked? Like, even after LeBron, like, went to Miami, you don't think he, like, texted Mo Williams or anyone who used to play? Like
Maybe he may have, but I'm just saying it seems like for Kyrie, it seems like it's much more his relationship with LeBron was much more of a business relationship.
Right.
It was his coworker. They were out there to try to, they had a common goal. They want to win a championship for wherever they were.
No obligation.
He really doesn't have to.
No, I guess you're right. When I hadn't thought about it like that. Like, why doesn't he have to tell Kevin Love? Why doesn't he have to tell Marshall? I hadn't thought of it like that. And when you put it that way, yeah, you're right about that.
He swayed me over. Not necessarily that I thought that he had to tell him before, but when you put it like that, I was like, you know what? I kind of agree with you, Kyrie.
You're absolutely right about that. Anything else?
We've got a little bit of RG3 news that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of left field.
RG3, as we all, of course, know, does not have a team that he currently plays for, but he did try out for the San Diego Chargers in the offseason.
Okay.
He made the news today after former Washington Redskins wide receiver Santana Moss appeared on 106.7 The Fan and suggested that RG3 gloated and took credit for Mike Shanahan's firing in 2013. He basically said that...
Was Santana Moss still on that team?
He was. On 2013, he still was. I think after that, it was either 2013, 2014 was his last year.
Wait. RG3 can't win a backup job in San Diego?
No.
Okay.
And who do they have? They got the guy from the Bills they actually traded for.
Oh. Who? Oh, no. Not
Cardell Jones.
Cardell Jones.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, RG3, after his time with the Redskins, he went to the Browns. That didn't work out very well. He got hurt again almost immediately. But while he was with the Redskins, there was not necessarily a consensus, but there was a lot of people that felt like he was very entitled, that he was a snob. He was, the Redskins traded all these picks to move up and take him. What was he, the second overall pick after Andrew Luck?
After Andrew Luck. And
it's like he just had this air of entitlement about him that it rubbed a lot of teammates the wrong way. So obviously it rubbed Santana Moss the wrong way. He said that Santana Moss stood up for the Shanahan, saying that they gave him the shot to continue to stay in the league. They moved him to slot receiver so that he could continue to play, so that he can continue to make money. Like he's a big. So obviously he's coming from a skewed perspective,
right?
But a lot of people felt that RG3 behaved in not so great manner. So then RG3, speaking of social media, took to Twitter to say, "No subtweeting needed. Santana Moss, I treated you like a brother. To openly lie about me is betrayal. Situation with a coach who never wanted me." And this I'm paraphrasing here. Some so desperately want me to fit this negative narrative, but I don't fit it. Never have, never will. Like I said, Griffin remains unsigned. So why this is all coming out in the news right now, I'm not exactly sure, but here we are.
Yeah, very weird. RG3 is a weird person.
Yeah.
His you see he cakes on Instagram a lot with his girlfriend, where like she'll post a picture and like, you know how on Instagram now, like if you're a celebrity and you comment, it shows up.
Yeah.
So like you can go on her profile and just everything is RG3, like just caking, like, oh, I love you, baby, so much.
Yeah.
Emoji.
Yeah.
He's a weird dude.
He's always been a little corny. I don't know. I mean, I liked him when he came to the league. I thought that probably the Redskins with the doctor, and I think was it Shanahan the first year that he was there when they made it to the playoffs and they wrecked his knee against the Seahawks?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably didn't help him out in his career at all, but there's a lot to be said with the way that you handle yourself.
And then he came back way too early with the whole Adidas campaign.
Right.
Like he did his rehab like for media, like that whole thing was weird too. And a lot of players, that's another thing players were like, Redskins players were put off by. It was like, dude, stop with the commercials and the media and like just get yourself ready.
Right.
Like, and his mind was RG3 was trying to build a brand more than he was trying to, get prepared to play football.
Right. I mean, that seems that seems to be the case. And a lot of what you heard about him supposedly getting Shanahan fired, which again, this is hearsay. I wasn't there. This is according to Santana Moss, was that when Shanahan, when he came back from injury and he wasn't playing right away, he was like RG3 was mad about that. And that's part of the, Mike Shanahan was let go after that season. And so they said that when he was gloating about that, like he was like, see what happens when you don't play the starting quarterback. And then there's a couple of reports that like he would stand up in meetings and be like, all the coaches have to be quiet. I want to talk about this offense. I'm a pocket passer. I'm not a running quarterback. There's 17 plays that need to be deleted from the playbook. And like everybody would be like, what?
Yeah.
You're not the coach.
Yeah.
You don't own this team. But, like I said, I like RG3. I think he's a good dude. He's a little corny. Obviously, a lot of people think he's a diva. I think he's probably done in the NFL.
Yeah, he's probably done. There was also a video that surfaced of him kind of balling out in some
I saw
court,
that. I saw that
pickup court
with his new haircut and everything.
Yeah, and he's wearing like a hoodie, like hoodie mellow.
Yeah.
Do you care about the boxing that happened?
I
don't care. Okay. This is my point of view. I just wanna, we gotta
go ahead.
Kill some time here. So boxing's in a weird state. People wonder if boxing is dying. MMA is not as big as people say. MMA is not as big as boxing. I think MMA has passed boxing. Nobody's watching boxing. So coming from a 26-year-old sports fan where the boxing of, Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Sugar Ray Evans or whatever his name, like that kind of 90s, 80s
Sugar Ray Leonard,
the like 90s, 80s boxing that was really good. Like that was before me. And like I'm a sports fan. I'm into everything. If it's high competition, I'm watching it. But boxing, this fight, people want to ask, is the millennial into boxing? And the answer is no. Because the last 4 fights that I wanted to watch were no good. Mayweather, McGregor, I'm not talking about that one. Mayweather, McGregor, I was in for that one. That one was fine.
It's a circus show.
It
wasn't even a legitimate boxing match.
Right. The 2 before that, Mayweather, Pacquiao, the one before that, whoever Mayweather fought, they weren't good fights. Watching Mayweather, yeah, he wins. He's 50-0, but he's not fun to watch. Then the next fight is Pacquiao versus this Australian. I only watched it because it was on ESPN. It wasn't on pay-per-view.
Yeah, you racist versus Australians?
No, but what does that mean? I don't know. So I watched that fight, and the judges botch that fight, whatever, the scoring, whatever you want to call it. And then you got this fight that I didn't watch it. I think I was working. But if I was somewhere, I would have thrown down Triple G versus Canelo, 2 fighters I've heard of, 2 fighters. That's the problem with boxing. A lot of fighters I never heard of.
Right.
You got 2 fighters that have a lot of belts, big time fight. Fine, right? All right, I'm interested. Then this lady just botches it. It's a great fight. Most people say Triple G won. One person had it at a draw, 114. The other person had Triple G winning 115, 113, something like that. And then this lady has Canelo, who most people think Triple G won. Then you've got Ty. Canelo winning is the third option, and she's got it 118, 110. And granted, I don't know much about boxing, but it sounds like this lady made a huge debacle out of this fight.
Right.
And it turns you off from boxing because this isn't the first time this has happened. And now, who knows how these fights are supposed to be scored? Why is one person's in football? There's one score. It's 14-12. Everyone scores it the same way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the inherent problem with any sort of sport that you're going to have, where a decision can be made based on people's opinions. And so there's supposed to be a certain scoring system, like there is in MMA, like there is in boxing for I don't know if boxing has ring control, like center control, like in the octagon, but there's supposed to be a specific scoring system. And it's hard to believe that 3 different people could come up while watching the same fights and supposedly supposed to be adhering to the same sort of scoring system,
exactly.
come up with such wildly different results.
Right, exactly. It's like to say, how are you going to score it 3 punches landed this round, and I saw 4. Well, there needs to be a finite number.
And there is a finite number. They do know, they have that sort of, they have the CompuBox numbers where they can actually look and see what those things are, I believe, before they're scoring the fight. I think they have to be able to have that data. They can't just go, oh, it's just my eyes, I think he won. So that's not how they score it.
Coming from someone like I'm a fan of sports that like I want to be interested in it. If you're going to give me a good product, I'll watch it. Boxing has this problem right now, and I'll tell you right now, as someone who is, I'm doing a sports podcast here. I like sports.
Right.
I am leaning towards not being interested in boxing. So anyone out there that's in charge of boxing, if you want to know one guy's opinion, I'm leaning towards not watching your sport.
I would have watched it if it was on the bar. I would not have ordered that fight simply because I would say that I'm a casual boxing fan. I'm not even really a casual boxing fan.
Okay.
I'll watch it if it's on.
Okay, fine. See, that's what I am. I'm a casual fan of that sport. That's the kind of fight I would watch. I mean, that's a Canelo versus Triple G.
Yeah, I know.
Does it get bigger than that?
Right. I'm such a casual fan that you have to hit me in the face with a circus act for me to be able to now I want to watch it.
Right.
McGregor Mayweather, they're going to go on a world tour of racists yelling at each other and just nonsense. I'm in. You hooked me.
Yeah, Canelo doesn't speak English.
2 legitimate boxers who, probably hold all sorts of different titles.
Who are trying to keep it pretty professional.
Not interested.
Not interested.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take our final break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the couch. Being live on YouTube, I hope live on YouTube. If not, it'll be on YouTube forever and ever, and also re-airing eventually throughout the week on 24/7 Miami.tv. We did have a couple hurricanes come through the southeast United States the last couple weeks. Help those affected by Hurricane Irma by texting the word Irma to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Message and data rates may apply. And now we'll go to everyone's favorite segment, Simple Jack.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Goodbye, Mama. Now you can have ice cream in heaven. I'll see you tonight when I go to bed in my head movies. But this head movie makes my eyes rain.
You went full retard, man.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen.
That was probably the worst thing we could have put on the monitor.
That's okay.
All right.
Come to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Learn fun and interesting talents. Like that.
Like that.
That is correct. Another edition of what some may say is Tracy Bingham's favorite subject. Do you know who that is?
No, I do not.
She was on Baywatch a long time ago.
Okay.
She's apparently from this area.
Okay, I'm interested.
This week's Simple Jack comes to us courtesy of the Salem News out of Beverly, Massachusetts. A Tampa man who fled to Massachusetts to avoid Hurricane Irma and stay with his mother pled not guilty last week to a charge of open and gross lewdness after he was arrested for some questionable behavior in a wooded area near Cannon Hills. Police received a 911 call from a man running in the wooded area who told the dispatcher he just saw a man with no pants on the trail doing some crazy bleep. When asked to elaborate, the runner said the man with no pants on was inserting a large sex toy into his mouth. Police,
At least it was his mouth.
Police responded and found the 52-year-old still pantsless with a small plastic bag containing the toy and other unnamed items associated with sexual activity. He just stopped to urinate and didn't mean to cause any trouble. He was released on $250 bail in order to stay away from Cannon Hills.
Well,
so, you know.
When evacuating Irma, it's like when in Rome, but when evacuating Irma.
You know, you just got to.
Sometimes it's high stress levels.
Listen, sometimes, I mean, no disrespect to anybody on how they amuse themselves. Can't do it on a running trail, though.
Can't do it on a running trail in Cannon Hills, Massachusetts.
He was staying with his mom, so he had to go somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. And your next one?
Oh,
I got two Simple Jacks.
This one's this is a Simple Jack, but we don't know who the Simple Jack is yet.
Okay.
So this comes out of Colorado. Colorado police are hunting for a mad pooper, a jogger. Kathy Budd, resident of the Colorado area, says that a female jogger has left human waste about 7 times in the recent weeks. Bud's children witnessed the woman squatting in the lawn and relieving herself and alerted her, at which point she confronted the jogger and asked, "Are you serious?" To which the woman responded, "Yeah, sorry." But apparently that shame did not deter her, as more human waste was found after the confrontation. Bud even went so far as to post a sign on her wall saying, "Please, I'm begging you, please stop." To no avail. More human waste was found after the sign was posted. Who has yet to be identified could be charged under a city ordinance banning public urination and defecation as well as indecent exposure. Watch out in Colorado. The mad pooper.
It sounds like this lady living in this one yard, because then that is, I mean, now you're talking about like very specific hate. Like if she's pooping everywhere, this lady's got a problem. If she's only pooping on your yard, you might want to find out why.
That's you did something to piss this lady off.
Yeah.
I mean,
man, can you imagine? Like, I'm gonna go poop in her yard.
I don't know.
Relentlessly for weeks.
You know, most people take their dogs over to somebody's yard if they're mad at them. You know, it's a little passive aggressive.
She doesn't have a dog.
You know, maybe she doesn't have a dog.
If you don't have a dog, you gotta
take
there's
business
I
into
guess
your own hands.
Actually, like squatting and straight up like pooping on the lawn, that's pretty disrespectful. I would say if I wanted to put my own poop on someone's lawn, I would probably like bag it up somehow, like
fling it from the car
or something. Yeah. Or at least like dump it out of the bag, but I would like actually poop in private. But yeah, man, that's super disrespectful to just squat in their yard and have her kids see it.
It's pretty bold.
And she's like begging, like, please stop. That's so funny. That's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard.
Pretty bold. Anything else? We got about 40 seconds left. I've got something that I forgot about in the NFL. This will have fantasy implications. The Carolina Panthers tight end Greg Olsen was placed on injured reserve, designated to return today after suffering a broken foot Sunday.
I did see that. I got some stats. Dalton, more tackles than TDs, more rush yards than Zeke Elliott. Matt Prater has attempted and made 12 straight 50-yard field goals.
UCF alumni right there, buddy.
And USC Texas did better attendance than Rams and Chargers, and that's two different games. It wasn't Rams versus Chargers. It was a Rams game and a Chargers game. College did better. We'll wrap it up. The Couch on YouTube, 24/7 Miami.tv. See you later.